All right, everyone. For a couple of years there, it was branded, generally speaking, people said, well, it's still the Obama economy. Now the Trump economy, trust us, has finally kicked in. Now, this is the third time that they've made the mistake of saying this. Only this time the downturn in like the Dow and NASDAQ has been prolonged enough so that they're hedging their bets that it keeps falling. I think at some point it stabilizes and it'll stagnate for quite some time and just be crawling up. This is, by the way, probably what's making crypto more valuable right now. People are concerned. I think it's legitimate in one way to be concerned about Trump entering a war with his own Federal Reserve, specifically because if the Fed has as much power as most people think, they can collapse the economy fairly quickly. And it appears as though they've been doing that with interest rates. And here's the funny part. Somebody pointed this out actually the other day, and I didn't think of this. It's a good point. The Fed is coming out, and all these economists saying, well, the economy is strong enough we can raise interest rates. It's not a problem. So in other words, you're saying over 8 years of Obama, when you left interest rates alone over and over and over again, you didn't have confidence in the economy? So in other words, all these leading economists, and indeed the Fed itself that the Democrats are trying to defend against Trump at the moment, they did not have faith in the Obama economy. They do have apparently overestimated faith, it seems, in the Trump economy. Then, of course, you get the MAGA people, and they're like, well, they're trying to collapse the economy. They want Trump out. They're trying to take the advice of some of these comedians who have talked about, like Maher there, who said, well, I hope for a recession. It's the only way Trump will be kicked out. By the way, yes, that is his one major vulnerability, an economic downturn. But here's the problem. Here's the big problem. The stock market doesn't entirely correlate with the economy as a whole. The fact that NASDAQ goes down could be indicative that there's a company in NASDAQ that's doing very poorly, like, oh, I don't know, Facebook, fucking Twitter, Crapple, possibly Google, which is a little bit more sheltered, it's more diverse and has fewer problems like that, but Facebook has been wiped out this year. All the gains, how many years of gains in their net value were wiped out just in the last 6 months at Facebook? What about at Twitter? It's a huge, huge amount of loss. It's catastrophic. I'm not surprised. And then, of course, there is a trade war going on. But Trump has already won a trade war in Europe with regards to the automotive sector. He won the NAFTA renegotiation. That wasn't a problem. He's beginning to win in China. They've reset some of their tariffs, reduced others, gotten rid of a few. It's scaling down, the trade war there. Trump's trade wars and decision making has not harmed the economy. That's not what's causing the stock market downturn, if anything. I think it has to do with exactly what I said, which is people you're investing or whatever. The Democrats are about to take the House. Yeah, you're probably a little bit worried that the growth is going to stall out because Trump won't be able to continue delivering any form of tax reform. He's not going to be able to continue fighting his trade wars without one arm tied behind his back, potentially. They'll attempt to weaponize the judiciary against him as well, potentially. So yeah, definitely. If I were investing, I'd probably be like, okay, I might want to put things on hold for a while and see what Pelosi's going to do. That's what's responsible for this. It's uncertainty. If you're investing, you don't want uncertainty. You want a very high order of probability that your investment brings a return. If you think that there's a good possibility that that's no longer going to happen, consumer confidence goes down, business confidence goes down, because Trump no longer has the consent of the House, yeah, you're probably investing less. You'll have a little bit of a slowdown. However, I wouldn't expect, unless it continues in downslide territory for fairly considerable length of time. Yeah, the downturn would have to be larger than it currently is for it to really impact, I think, unemployment, which is low. Now, wage growth, which has been fairly steady, job growth, which is, on par with what we need. I wouldn't expect things to get, catastrophic. I wouldn't expect it to be another Great Recession. At this moment, that's not what's indicated. It's a considerable correction at the moment. I think it's already everything's in correction territory. Then, I mean, where does it go? If these people could actually accurately tell you when the market was going to go up or down and what was going to go up and down, they wouldn't need to be stockbrokers or whatever. They'd be too rich for that. They'd already have their billions. They'd make George Soros and Mark Zuckerberg look like, hermits that are living under a highway overpass because they'd have so much money. And they'd make Tim Cook look impoverished, so it wouldn't be a problem. But it is very funny to see the same people who said it's not the Trump economy, all of a sudden it is. And then meanwhile, people are saying, no, it's 100% Trump. Now they're like, oh, no, it's the Fed's fault. Well, kind of, maybe, sort of. I think the economy can take it. I think that Trump's right if they raise interest rates further. It's like, what are you doing? At that point, though, it probably becomes a little bit obvious what would be happening to a lot of people. They'd be like, well, you could leave this alone. The thing is, they got too much autonomy. They do need to be audited and restricted. I think Congress should be in charge directly of our monetary system. I want the government directly to be responsible so that they have to take the blame when things go wrong. And I don't just mean, well, Trump did X, therefore Y. It's not just Trump. He's just the head of the executive branch. The states have their own governments. That has an economic impact. Private businesses, certainly large corporations, especially Silicon Valley, and certainly what the legislature does. And if it looks like the legislature is going to be led by people who are going to stand in the way of continued deregulation, well, then the businesses will say, well, maybe we just wait a couple years. Maybe they retake the House. It's too much uncertainty because there's split government, and so it makes them a little bit more upset. So we've had a boom time. It may continue in some forms, but it is tempered a bit. And it is very funny to see, the interplay between people who said it was all Trump, now it's not, and then they said it's not Trump at all, now all of a sudden he's singularly responsible for your stock portfolio. He alone is responsible for Twitter's downturn. It had nothing to do with censorship or user privacy. Zuckerberg is not responsible for the value of Facebook stock. Only Donald Trump is. How strange is it when they make these claims? Look at how these companies have performed. Very, very poorly over the last 6 months. That's about all. Peace out.